And now the latest across the wide world of tropics. Tropical Weather Bulletin for August the 8th. Well, today across the wide world of tropics on day 220 of 2021, we have 3 active tropical cyclones, those being Tropical Storm Kevin in the eastern Pacific, Tropical Storms Lupit and Mirinae near Japan in the western Pacific. We also have what was Tropical Storm Nida, now a remnant low in the northern Pacific, heading further into the northern Pacific Ocean. So far this year, we've had 50 named storms form, by Force 13 analysis, that is. Will that number rise over the next few days? It is likely that it will. On day 68 of Atlantic hurricane season, we have 3 yellow areas of interest, 2 of those being invests, and 92L being the further east one at 20% by our analysis, 93L 30% as it heads generally west-northwest, and another AOI west of 93L, 20% chance on that one over the next 5 days as it generally heads towards the Caribbean islands and Turks and Caicos Islands. We'll have to keep an eye on all 3 of these over the next few days. We'll be closely watching these, along with the systems in the eastern and central Pacific on day 84 of Pacific hurricane season. Tropical Storm Kevin is off the coast of Mexico, expected to become a hurricane. In southeast of that, a 70% AOI. For potential development more towards the latter part of the 5-day period. And Invest 91C in the Central Pacific, we're giving it a 50% chance of formation on that one. Models are hinting at that one forming in the Central Pacific. So will Hone show signs of forming? We'll have to see. In the Western Pacific, we can see tropical storms Lupit and Mirinae near Japan, Mirinae being closest to Japan, just southeast of Tokyo. 91W, 10% chance on that one. It's off the screen, as you can see, but it's expected to become frontal within the next 6 to 12 hours, and that will be the end of its formation chances. And the remnants of Nida, far north there, near 40 degrees north, it's heading out further into the northern Pacific Ocean. Moving back into the Atlantic Ocean for satellite imagery, you can see the main development region is really getting active there with our 3 areas of interest. You can see, other than that, you would have to go to the southeast coastline where we have a frontal system producing showers and thunderstorms off the southeast coast. In the eastern Pacific, you can see Tropical Storm Kevin there off the coast of Mexico. It's looking pretty good. It's got a well-defined lower-level center, and it's got some good convection over that center. Again, that is expected to become a hurricane over the next 5 days, and you can see some thunderstorm activity to the southeast of that associated with our next AOI in the eastern Pacific. You can also see 91C there. It's looking pretty good, and as I said, models are hinting at this actually forming in the central Pacific, so maybe Hone is not too far away. In the western Pacific, you can see our train of low-pressure systems. You can see Lupit by the southern Japanese islands, Mirinae just southeast of Tokyo, 91W you can see there heading further out to sea, and Nida losing its convection, now a remnant low, moving into the northern Pacific Ocean. The sea surface temperatures across the world tonight, you can see where 91C is. It only gets warmer as it tracks further west, so it's got the sea surface temperatures, and where Kevin and the next East Pac AOI is, it is piping hot, ready for development. The North Atlantic Ocean is really getting warm. I've noticed that the Gulf of Mexico is significantly warmer from when I last did a TWB, so the Atlantic is certainly getting prepped for hurricane season, and sea surface temperatures should not be an issue for any of our North Atlantic AOIs. The North Indian Ocean is pretty much the same as it has been for the past few days, and the Western Pacific is piping hot, ready for typhoon development, and really where all of our systems are except for 91W and Nida. The sea surface temperature anomalies, you can see the North Atlantic Ocean and the Eastern Pacific are generally the same story as they have been for a while. North Atlantic above average, almost basin wide. Eastern Pacific above average as you're near Mexico, near to below average as you get towards Hawaii. 91C will be tracking into above average sea surface temperatures. That is what the Western Pacific and North Indian Ocean generally are, above average. You can see that cool pool remaining there east of Taiwan, and around the southern Japanese islands. On this day, on August the 8th, 2014, we had two powerful cyclones active in the Pacific Ocean. Hurricane Julio coming off its 105-knot Category 3 peak, and Typhoon Genevieve peaking at around 125 knots. It looked absolutely beautiful on satellite imagery, as you can see there. Julio did not look as good as Genevieve did, but it still looked pretty magnificent for an Eastern Pacific hurricane. We also had Typhoon Halong making its way towards Japan, would eventually make a landfall in Japan as a typhoon, and Bertha was an extratropical system heading well out into the northern Atlantic Ocean. Well, as we look towards the next names, we, in the Atlantic Basin, are looking out for Fred and Grace. Could we see those fairly soon? It is possible, not as likely as we thought it was a couple days ago. In the Eastern Pacific, we're looking out for Linda and Marty. Linda may be soon coming with that next AOI. In the Central Pacific, Hone is next, and it has been for a while. May it show itself in the Central Pacific before it enters the Western Pacific. It is possible, and maybe then the jokes of Hone can finally end. In the Western Pacific, I'm hoping 91W does not get Omayas, but that is the next name, followed by Constant. In the North Indian Ocean, the next name is Gulab. In the Australian region, the next name is Patty. In the Southwest Indian Ocean, we're looking out for Anna. And in the South Pacific, we're looking out for Cody. We have our automated streaming service running on our main YouTube channel, and we'll have another Tropic Weather Bulletin tomorrow night.